going on, folks? West Pruitt, 4 Star Sports Media. Got John started in the house. John, what's going on, man?
Happy Monday.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Happy Monday. Welcome into the Sports Buffet. Appreciate everybody watching and listening. We are presented to you by three different amazing companies. Over to your right there. We'll start with, tell you what, we'll start we'll start with SeatGeek. Are you looking for a platform where people can buy and sell tickets to live events like concerts, sporting games, and more? Look no further than SeatGeek. It offers a marketplace for tickets, allowing users to find a variety of options, including potential deals and discounts. SeatGeek also provides features like interactive seat maps and price tracking tools to help you, the buyer, make more informed decisions. Here's a brief detail of what happens when you go to SeatGeek. And by the way, when you go there and you find any ticket $50 or more, type in promo code 4 Star Sports Media, and that will save you $20 off your first ticket purchase. But you've got price tracking, John. So users can now track prices to see how they fluctuate and potentially find the best deals. Interactive seat maps, as we talked about, buyer guarantee, user friendly interface, and more. It's all right there for you at SeatGeek.com. John, that
People,
is the startup of the show. That's the SeatGeek startup. Like I said, pro code 4 Star Sports Media. We are 4 Star Sports Media. Right? We like to say it's a 4 star name with 5 star coverage. But John, we got a jam packed show, or as we like to call it, a plateful. Let's start with very, very, very interesting week in the NHL, John, as we saw quite the games in round one. Now, yes, the team that I root for, the St. Louis Blues, did lose in round one to the Winnipeg Jets. But
I
now the
apologize,
Dallas
Blues
Stars,
fans. I
which
apologize for
it's fine, it's whatever. Um, no, really, it's look the Blues. It was a hell of a comeback to even make the playoffs. So you know, shout out to the Blues. But anyway, right now Dallas is up 2-1 on Winnipeg. Edmonton is up 2-1 on the Vegas Knights. Carolina is up 2-1 on Washington, and Toronto is up 2-2. They're tied 2-2 with Florida. Speaking of Toronto, John, it was announced today via the NFL, or I'm sorry, via the NHL, that Toronto Maple Leafs forward Max Domi has been fined $5,000, the maximum allowable under the collective bargaining agreement, for boarding Florida Panthers forward Alexander Barkov during Game 4 of the team's second round series in Florida yesterday on Sunday, May 11th. The NHL League's Department of Player Safety announced today. The incident occurred at the 19-minute 52-second mark of the third period, where Domi was assessed a major penalty for boarding, and all the money goes to the Players Emergency Assistance Fund. It's been an exciting playoff, John. What's your thoughts so far on the NHL playoffs?
Well, first of all, let me just say this regarding that series. It's getting ugly and it's getting ugly quick. Um, when I say ugly, I'm talking about like people are hitting people pretty ugly at times where they're not expecting it or they are expecting it because when that series is kind of it's getting to the point where it's not a rivalry because it's not Canadian versus Canadian, but it's a Canadian versus a U.S. team, and people hate each other from the Canadian U.S. game back in the day. So yeah,
Yeah.
this whole Stanley or this whole playoff format so far, the one that stands out to me is you said Edmonton is up 2-1 that series. That's not a shock, but the way that Edmonton has been scoring a lot of goals at times makes you wonder how much defense is Las Vegas actually playing. And then the Dallas Stars, you brought up Dallas Stars is up 2-1. So to go
Yep.
7 games and the way they did in the first match or the 6 games against the Avalanche, and then just rallied and rallied against the Avalanche, the way they did to be up 2-1 on Winnipeg is pretty impressive so far up to date. So I'll give Dallas and the Edmonton my two surprises in this round so far.
Yeah, I mean, you look at tonight. You got two matchups tonight. Like I said, Capitals, 6 o'clock TNT, True and on Max. But 6 p.m. Carolina, who currently leads 2-1. Game four tonight. Capitals and Hurricanes. Alex Ovechkin has 4 goals so far this postseason. And then tonight, 8:30, over on TNT and True TV. We just talked about Edmonton and the Vegas Golden Knights. Edmonton leads 2-1. Big time matchup tonight there as well. Then tomorrow, you've got Dallas and Winnipeg over on the other side of the bracket. So big time stuff there. And, uh, you know, Winnipeg going to game seven, I thought that they would really struggle against Dallas. They kind of have in a way. But, man, to look and see what Dallas has been able to do so far this playoff has been really, really impressive for the Stars.
Yeah, I think on my predictions, I'm going to do Washington wins tonight, force it 2-2. And then I think Edmonton, just the way that Edmonton's just been playing lately, has just been so well. So I'll do Edmonton wins game five to take the 3-1 lead.
Give me Vegas to tie it up tonight. I think Vegas ties it up in what is going to be a heck of a game starting in just a few hours, and then give me the Capitals to also tie it up tonight, John. So I'm expecting both of those series to be 2-2 after 4 games. John, after seven, we are now in week 7 of UFL. I know it's a league that not a lot of people are real happy about, fans of whatever you want to call it. But the play is not bad to watch. The league is actually entertaining to watch. I enjoy the coaches in it. We just talked to Jacob Christner last week about the UFL. And I thought he brought up a really good point, John, when he said, you know, um, what about the guys like a Trey Lance, for example? A guy that, you know, a normal average Joe sitting on the couch is might want to go out and watch. What's your thoughts on? And I think you brought up a great point. Um, but what's your thoughts on that? Because I think that's something that the UFL, like, yes, they had AJ McCarron, but he's saying a guy like bigger name than AJ McCarron. What's your thoughts on that?
Or heck, even Colin Kaepernick. To be honest with you, I thought,
100%.
why isn't Colin Kaepernick?
100%.
Like, when you had that interview with him, when you said Trey Lance, I'm like, well, shoot, Colin Kaepernick is still out there and he's still available. So why isn't he getting a shot in the UFL? He must piss off a lot of ownership. Or come on, man, let's get real. The past is the past. For him not to be picked up by even arena football is ridiculous. You can't, like, that talent in general with him is unstoppable. We seen it. You seen it. Everybody sees the talent in Colin Kaepernick. So what is the deal
Yeah.
regarding that? So I agree, man. Like, especially when you see like a Trey Lance, the way he got dismissed from the Cowboys, which to me I think Jerry Jones is still stupid for letting Trey Lance go. But that's just a different story for another day. But man, Trey Lance and these quarterbacks definitely deserve a shot, especially when I brought up Colin Kaepernick. So definitely would be. I think those, to be honest with you, would bring more fans in the stadiums as well too. I know there's only 3 weeks left, but if you bring a name in like that, you never know what could happen.
I mean, this is very true. This is very true. Yeah, and the horn going off there was we've got we've got big time stuff there. Colin Kaepernick. Should we start a petition here? Kaepernick to the UFL? Cap? UFL? UFL for Cap? Cap for UFL? We'll figure something out. Uh,
Organic football.
yeah, you know, you could go a couple different ways there. We didn't go there, but no, man. Week 7 was fun. Enjoyed it a lot. It started out Friday night. DC Defenders got a big win down in San Antonio over the Brahmas, 32-24. DC John 5-2. Not the coach that started the year, not the staff that started the year. By the way, down there or up there in DC, Jordan Tama, 19-24, 278 through the air, 3 touchdowns on the day, leading the defenders with Jackson on the ground, 10 attempts, 45 yards, and 1 touchdown. And Sanders, 1 catch, 76 yards through the air. Then on the Brahmas, you had Hogan, quarterback, 20 of 31, 230 through the air, 2 touchdowns. Corbin led the way on the ground, 9 attempts, 109 yards, and 1 touchdown. Kirkline, led the day, 7 catches for 52 yards, a long of 14. The longest of the day was by Stevenson, a long of 34. What's your thoughts on a DC Defenders team, John, in the UFL that honestly no one really saw this coming?
Their defense is standing out to me. Um, they're scoring a lot of points, but it's the way their defense has been playing the ball, getting turnovers in crucial spots, and it's getting stops when it matters most. So they're going to be 5-2, along with the Michigan Panthers and St. Louis Battlehawks, and then the Birmingham Stallions. The next 3 weeks
Yep.
are definitely going to be interesting, fun to watch because what is it? Top two do playoff. How does the playoffs work again? You got to forgive me on that.
Uh, I want to say it's the top 2 teams or 3 teams. I think it's the top 3. I think they take 6 teams.
Okay,
I think
the
it's the
top.
top 3 teams from each conference.
Yeah, so definitely it'll be fun to
Could
watch. And
be
yeah,
could be wrong on that, but yeah, no, 100%. Speaking of the Panthers, man, big time win over the Renegades. By the way, Bob Stoops was not happy after that game. 25-24 to move to 5-4. Renegades moved to 3-4 on the year. By the way, the Brahmas fall to 1-6. That game was on Saturday. It was the only game on Saturday. What's your thoughts on the schedule so far, John? As we kind of run through this week, what's your thoughts on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Do you like the 3 game slate?
I mean, I think I'd rather see Saturday, Sunday, but that's just me. But also, you got to compete with other sports also on Friday night. So that's one reason I think Fox is definitely pushing for UFL and just regular football in general, even college football on Friday nights. So I think they're trying to compete with other sports like the NBA playoffs for viewership. Um, I mean, the only place that I don't see it hurting attendance is St. Louis. So I don't really have no problem with it, but I can understand why they have it on Friday night.
Yeah, most definitely. And yeah, you're right. St. Louis is not hurting for attendance. What a wild game we saw down in Birmingham, John, on Saturday as the Stallions shut out the Roughnecks in the second half, outscored them. They scored 6 points in the third quarter and then 15 in the fourth to get the win 33-25. Case Cookus, familiar name for Memphis Showboats fans. Case Cookus, 17-34, 199 through the air, 1 touchdown. A person through on the ground, 13 attempts, 61 yards, and a tutty, as the kids like to say. And then Jay Sternberger. Sternberger popped back up. 4 catches, 74 yards, and a touchdown as Birmingham, coming off a shocker of a loss to the Showboats last week in week 6, come back and rough up Houston a little bit for the win down in Birmingham. 5-2 now as the 3-time defending champions now continue on as playoffs Playoffs are coming up, John. They're getting close, as you just mentioned.
Speaking of Birmingham, as of 25 minutes ago, per sources, James Larson, a former guest on Four Star, they just got a massive pickup in Maxie Roberts, the former Showboat player.
Hmm.
So to get another defensive player in his caliber, they definitely win that other championship down in Birmingham. But just the way that Birmingham has been battling the quarterbacks with injuries the last couple of weeks too is very much impressive for Birmingham too, because Corral's been on the shelf the last couple of weeks. So Birmingham doing pretty well last couple of weeks.
They are. They're doing really well the last couple weeks, and it's been fun to watch. And that's another team, man. That the coach, right? I mean, Skip Holtz. Maybe not. He's not his daddy, right? But he's a guy that is a proven winner. He's won everywhere he's been at every level. He has not been at a program in college football or football in general that he hasn't won at. So big time stuff, man. Fun stuff as well from Birmingham. All right, John. Final game of the day or for the week was Battlehawks. They moved to 5-2 as they knocked off the Showboats yesterday. Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium, 19-9. James was actually at that game. James Larson. The Boats dropped to 1-6. They scored. Memphis scored 6 points in the second, 3 points in the third. Teach me how to Duggan. Teach me how to Duggan. Max Duggan 15 to 23, 158 through the air for one touchdown. He also led the team rushing, John. Uh, 10 attempts, 57 yards, and a touchdown on the ground. Jennings had 3 catches for 61 yards for the Battlehawks. On the Showboat side of things, I like this guy, man. Dresser win. I like this quarterback. I know a lot of people. This team just continually struggles with quarterbacks. I don't understand it, but I like this kid. 21 to 34, 196 through the air for one touchdown. Then you had Prince, 17 attempts, 44 yards, and a touchdown. Then Jonathan Adams, man, kid continues to play well. 4 touchdowns. I'm sorry, 4 catches, 4 catches, 69 yards, another touchdown for him this season. John, there was not many people out there um, at all yesterday.
Well, Memphis is
But
having bad luck with weather. That's why.
it
That too.
if the team was 5-2, people would have been there.
I can agree to that, but I'm getting to the point where you talked about this numerous times, man. Like you gotta bring some local flavor in there. You also, I know me and you talked about this. Why are tickets different in each city? Not alone
Yeah.
Memphis, because Memphis $30 for a game. If you go down to Birmingham, you only pay like 20 something dollars for a ticket. I don't
Right.
know if it's just. I know a lot of people are just. Yeah, I just don't understand why. I know the weather hasn't been nice in Memphis for home games. I know it was Mother's Day yesterday. I know the showboats are doing everything in their power to bring concessions to $5 and $2 beers and $2 hot
Oh yeah, and
dogs.
shout out to him for that. That's a great.
Yeah,
That's a
so that's a
great
great
idea.
promotion. But man, I just don't understand why you're only averaging 4,000 people for this. I mean, yeah, you don't have a winning product the last couple of years, but like the only person that comes to mind is you brought up is a quarterback playing win. Remarkable story in him. Played college ball at UT Martin. Played at Dresden High School. You know, the list goes on with him. But
Hmm.
I don't see how. I'll be honest with you. I don't think this Memphis team stays in Memphis after this year. I want it to stay, but I definitely don't think it stays.
Do you not think it does really?
I mean, look at it, man. Like I know other cities like St. Louis are bringing 25,000 people in stands. Or San Antonio is bringing at least 10 to 15,000 in a 70,000 seat stadium. I would like
Yeah.
to. I'm when okay. Just remind me this to do this. But next couple of weeks, I do definitely want to drive by the stadium and see how much they actually do want to charge for parking. because if the city of Memphis in general can reduce the prices down for parking for those games, then people might want to go. Because I think other cities have lesser parking prices too. For example, I don't think they charge like $20 to $25 like the city of Memphis does.
They probably don't. I wouldn't assume they do. All
And
right,
that's
let's jump over to do what?
I was gonna say that's another reason I don't think people are going is because parking prices.
Good point. Good point. All right, man. Let's jump over to the NBA real quick as the playoffs wind down. We're down to the Eastern and Western Conference semifinals, and we'll start with the Eastern Conference. John, the Indiana Pacers currently lead the number one Cleveland Cavaliers. John,
Wow.
what happened? What is this? This has been a wild series. Um, I I remember saying that I thought the Pacers were a team to look out for. I recall saying that, but I don't recall how far I said I thought they would go. That's the part I got to roll the tape back and go dig and find.
Right.
Um, but this team's fun to watch, man. Halliburton and the boys. He's the most hated NBA player. He was voted on by his peers as the most hated NBA player, by the way. But he's showing out, man. Game 5 tomorrow night, 6 p.m. over on TNT True and on Max. And Indianapolis can close it out, John, with a win.
And to be honest with you, I would not be surprised if they do.
Yeah,
You brought
yeah,
up Tyrese Halliburton, and he is the real deal right now. Yesterday was just embarrassing to watch if you're a Cleveland Cavalier fan. Indianapolis dominated, scored 80 something points in the first half alone
yeah.
to what Cleveland's 39, I think it was, at half. And you can just tell that we talked about this. There's Garland. He's battling that toe injury. Evan Mobley's battling that injury that he has. And whenever you see them both on the sideline with injuries, Donovan Mitchell can only score 40 points so often.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to credit, first of all, Cleveland for even getting this far. I know we all want to see Cleveland win the championship, but maybe not this year, but hopefully next year they can make it as far as they can again next year. But it just shows the coaching staff in this conference, man. Like the coaching has done pretty well
Oh yeah,
altogether, though, in the East.
it has. Speaking of coaching, um, the Boston Celtics coach was a coach that was getting a lot of flack after the first two games of the series. But game four is tonight, 6:30 on ESPN. New York Knicks lead the series 2-1 right now. As we know, Boston completely just foobarred the first two games. If you look at this series on a series stats comparison, Boston has scored 103 points compared to New York's 97. Yes, Boston is losing the series, and they've scored more points than the other team. It's crazy, I know. But no, man, that's been a really fun series. I feel like kind of a throwback series. I feel like when these two teams in the league are playing well, it's good for the NBA. This brings back the Patrick Ewing, Larry Bird, John Starks. Brings back those type of guys to my
Right.
memory when I think of Celtics and Knicks. And this has been a really fun series, like I said, a throwback series, and it's going to be a lot of fun tonight. I think Boston ties it up tonight. I know that's not really going out on a limb per se, but I don't really care about that. But yeah, I think Boston ties it up tonight. What's your
As long
thoughts?
as, long as they're hitting the three ball, right?
Yeah,
Because
but-
personally,
yeah,
they
yeah.
live or
We don't
die.
want. Paul Pierce does not want to walk back to work again.
No, 15 of 60 from the three in the first game, and they're only averaging about 17 threes right now, uh, in general, shooting 37% from the three, but they live or die from the three. And I think right now they're favored by 6.5 tonight. I don't know, man. That mentality at Madison Square Garden. You know what? I'm going to go Boston too. I think it's going to go 2-2, and I think it's going to be an interesting series, man. I just definitely think this series very well could go 6 or 7 games.
Really?
I mean, think about it. It's all about ratings, right? It's a rivalry for a reason, right?
This is
So,
true. This is
Spike
true.
Lee and company, I think they got to definitely win this game if they want to. They don't want to bring it back to Boston per se because it'll be okay. It's 1-1-1-1, so it's home away, far out for the
Correct.
next 4 games now. So I think Boston
Hmm.
wins here, and I think somehow it goes 6 or 7 games. It's got to be right.
I mean, you would think. I mean, Boston wins here, and then who knows? But I mean, here's the thing: if the Knicks win tonight, it changes a lot because then all in theory you would think all the pressure goes to Boston, but I've never thought that way. I feel like all the pressure is on the team that has to win the final game.
Right.
Maybe a lot of people don't think that way, but I don't care. Whatever. All right, man. A series that's tied up, and a series that we talked about. We knew it was going to be fun. Oklahoma City and Denver. Currently tied up 2-2. Next game is tomorrow night, 8:30 over on TNT. Game one, Denver won 121-119. Game two, Oklahoma City won 149-106, which is just wild to watch. Then we had the overtime game, incredible overtime game, 113-104 that Denver won. And then ipso facto, boom, tied up 92-87 win yesterday for Oklahoma City. When you look at Oklahoma City, I mean, what a wild playoff they've had. I mean, they blew the Grizzlies out of the water, completely off the court, contrary to what a lot of Grizzlies fans think. And I mean, John Morant said he had them right where they wanted them. They got swept. But now you turn around and you go against Denver. Of course, we knew Denver was not going to be a pushover, right? We knew it was not going to be a cakewalk. But I think this has been probably this series. I don't know. There's all the series have been really good, but this series has had a lot of eyes on it across the league, not just over in the Western Conference side of things.
No, definitely not. It's just when Denver Nuggets are still having their interim coach as their head coach. They haven't officially announced who's going to be their head coach, but I think we know who the head coach is going to be now, right? When you're battling the number one overall seed in the West to 2 series right now, and you won the first game at OKC, and then just the way that you've been scoring a lot of points under your interim coach, that's what stands out to me. And then people want to give Russell Westbrook a lot of flack or whatever, but his defense has been standing out in this series too. And to be honest with you, I'm really impressed. Blake called Denver, but this series is definitely fun to watch.
Yeah, it has. It has for sure. My bad. I did not mean to hit the music on you that early. Um, Most definitely. When we come back, we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll
Oh,
be
let me say
talking
this
a
real
little
quick
college
regarding NBA.
baseball.
Sorry, Wes. Real quick on
Oh,
NBA.
sorry. Go ahead.
The
You're
scheduling
good.
is so Friday night late game for the Denver Nuggets and OKC, and then play a Sunday afternoon game is absolutely terrible for NBA. Let me just say
Agreed.
that also. But how do you like the? I mean, when do you see Steph Curry coming back? You see him coming back at all in this series against Minnesota?
I mean, they've already said if he does, it's like game five or game six. I mean,
Right,
this is game four coming up. I mean, here's the thing: I think Golden State has to win tonight.
right, because it'll be down 3-1. Right,
I mean, yeah. I mean, you're down 3-1. You're in trouble. Here's the other thing: if they lose tonight, I think he could come back earlier than maybe expected. You win tonight, I think you see him game six. I think that they roll the dice with game five. Series is tied 2-2, right? You know what I mean? You win the night, you tie it up 2-2. You got a chance. That's just the way I see it.
yeah. Then they play Monday at Golden State, which is tonight, like you brought up, and then
Right.
quick turnaround again. You're basically traveling overnight to Minnesota per se because you get another late tip off on Wednesday night, and then you got 3 days off until Sunday when you play Game 6, possibly down in San Francisco.
Yeah, it's been very interesting, and it's going to continue to be very interesting. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be talking college baseball, college softball, as we dive into the Women's College World Series as the field has been set. All that and more right here on the Sports Buffet, presented to you by Four Star Sports. Welcome back in, folks, to the Sports Buffet, presented to you by Four Star Sports. As you can see on the bottom of the screen, we got a little sponsor shout out as we want to shout out Athletic Brewing Company. Got their start in Stratford, Connecticut, place where Bill and John first began the test brewing. They crafted over 100 batches of home brew equipment to perfect their process and refine their flavors. Once satisfied, they built an entire brewery around it. Since then, we've moved just down the road to Milford, Connecticut, but they have built what is believed to be the largest dedicated non-alcoholic brewery in the country. They've expanded to San Diego, and between those two breweries, they are now able to build the finest and freshest non-alcoholic brews on the market for customers such as myself who partake. The brews have styles throughout the year, different styles. Right now, they've got the Fancy Like. It's a compilation with Walker Hayes. They've got the Iron Man, which is a compilation with the Iron Man triathletes and more. They've got Run Wild, which is a IPA. It's absolutely incredible. They've got Upside Down, Free Wave, Cerveza Atletica, which is amazing, by the way. It's like a Hispanic style beer. They have the Athletic Light in store year round, and they have much more coming out by the boatload. Head over to athleticbrewingcompany.com / 4 Star Sports Media for more. John, let's talk a little college baseball, man. But I want to start with we got an announcement from the SEC. Yes, this came directly from the SEC as they issued the fan advisory for the 2025 baseball tournament via Birmingham, Alabama today. They say, quote, fans attending the 2025 baseball tournament May 20th through 25th at the Hoover Met are encouraged to become familiar with policies related to fan enjoyment and security for the tournament. The 2025 SEC tournament will feature a 16-team single elimination format. Fan Fest, featuring a number of entertainment activities, will be held throughout the week at the Finley Center, adjacent to the Hoover Met. Very exciting stuff, man. That's going to be a lot of fun. There's a clear bag policy. Okay. There's also screening. Fans will be required to pass through security screening for admission to games. And they also have a cashless policy. Cashless policy. So, and there's parking, complimentary and available in the lots surrounding the Hoover Met. A complimentary shuttle service is also available for offsite parking at Bumpus Middle School. So for those of you that want to park down there, Bumpus Middle School has a shuttle that moves you around. John, what is happening in the SEC? I want to start there. What the hell is going on? Missouri goes 0-24 throughout the entire season. And then not only do they win one game, not only do they win two games, but then they go to College Station and they get the brooms out and sweep the Aggies, who was one of the hottest teams in the nation entering this weekend. They sweep them to close the SEC regular season close the road season for them. But are they a team to look out for in Hoover now? I mean, they just beat Texas A&M 3 times. If you can beat A&M 3 times, you can beat anybody once. It's single elimination.
They must have listened to our show last week because
Probably.
they brought up they must have won a fight for Coach Jackson's career now because the way they dominated down in College Station, especially scoring 10 runs in one game. I believe that was the last game. But just going that hostile environment down in College Station, not only like you brought up to win one game, but sweep them. Congratulations to Coach Jackson and company because you got some. We did not expect that to happen, but because we really thought they were going to go over this year in the SEC. Everybody did, to be honest with you. Me, you, Blake, Ashton, the whole 9 yards. And I'm sure a lot of SEC fans also thought that. But hey, man, they're battling. That's all you can really say about them. They're not giving up.
Heck no, they ain't. Heck no, they ain't. And it's impressive to watch, man. Really wasn't expecting it to be completely honest with you. I mean, obviously, like you just said, no one was really expecting it. But man, I mean, you've got college baseball games being played tonight on Tuesday night, John. You got Michigan taking on Milwaukee. You got Notre Dame taking on Eastern Michigan. Tennessee, Belmont travels over to take on the Vols. Duke travels to Liberty. Interesting matchup there. Indiana takes on Cincinnati. North Kentucky takes on Kentucky. UT Martin travels down to old Oxford to take on Old Miss. Grand Canyon, don't don't sleep on them. As they take on Arizona State tonight, 8:30 on ESPN Plus. But John, when you look at the next slate of games starting Thursday, man, there is a lot of really, really, really good games.
What stood out to you over the past weekend before we talk about this weekend?
Oof.
Are you more
I
okay?
mean,
I'll give you an example. Are you more surprised that LSU took 2 out of 3 against Arkansas? Or are you more surprised that Florida went into Austin, Texas, and took 2 out of 3 against Texas?
Florida, and I'm not that I'm not by Arkansas, but it's not just that Florida went in there and won; it's how they went in there and won. To go in there and just curb stomp Texas at home in Austin, it's impressive. It's damn impressive to close the season for Sullivan and the guys. And then, man, that Georgia Alabama game or series was a blast. That was a fun series. The other one is this, John, Kentucky. Kentucky going in and knocking off Oklahoma.
Keeping them.
That was big. That was really big. And another team, and I know we've had other people talk about them too. Arkansas State's a team. They went in and beat Troy yesterday. Um, Big time win for the Red Wolves.
Yeah, and I also want to say this: Hell State bring out the cowbells more often down in Starkville because 31-20 right now. I know you're 12-15 in the conference, and then you got,
Yeah.
uh, you know, this weekend for Mississippi State is going to be definitely real interesting. But Hell State taking 2 out of 3 on Ole
You can't
Miss.
lose to Missouri. God bless. No,
No,
God, no. You can't do that.
but 2 out of 3 against good old Ole Miss your rival this past weekend down in Starkville. Great weekend. That game yesterday was definitely or the game Saturday, I mean, was interesting down in Starkville
Yep.
because it gave it out in that ninth inning where Ole Miss had runners on with no outs, and Mississippi State just shut the door. And man, Auburn keeps on dominating the way they're hitting the ball, scoring 20 plus runs on South Carolina Thursday night. South Carolina's 5-22 in the conference, 26-26 overall. And you brought up, does the coach even want to be there coaching college baseball? And it might be one and done in Columbia.
Oh, dude, I think he's already packed up his office. I think he's packed up. I think everything's at the house chilling. He's just waiting on the final game so he can go back to the house. And I don't blame him. To be completely honest with you, I do not blame him. You got some big time games this week. I mean, you got Texas, Oklahoma. Don't sleep on Oklahoma to knock off Texas. That's a Red River rivalry to close the season. And speaking of Ole Miss, speaking of Auburn, doesn't get any easier for Ole Miss. They got Auburn, and Auburn's swinging the bat right now. Now, I mean, obviously, big time series up here in Fayetteville this weekend as Tennessee comes to town. The number 17 ranked Tennessee Vols. It's gonna be a lot of fun. First game is gonna be a doozy. I mean, it's gonna be an entire weekend, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It's gonna be a lot of fun up here in Fayetteville. Between that, plus you've got what we're going to talk about coming up here in just a minute. On the softball side of things, this place is going to be busy this weekend, and I'm glad I'm off work.
Can I just take a private jet to Fayetteville this weekend because Tennessee, who has been not hitting the ball well lately, like you brought up, goes to Fayetteville, and then you get the softball regional. And heck, man, this Hoover, if people definitely want to buy tickets on SeatGeek, buy them now for Hoover, and buy them now for this weekend coming up because it goes on that final weekend where it could cause a little bit of hiccups in the standings regarding that double elimination bye. And also remember this: it's a single elimination this year in Hoover. So you might see some teams on Friday and Saturday that you might not usually see going into that as well.
I think you're exactly right. I think you're exactly right. All right, man. Let's jump over to college softball real quick.
Oh yeah,
And before
congratulations
we
to
do,
Baptist
let's
on beating
talk
Tulane
about
baseball.
Sportsbox Co. Sportsbox. Very good point too. Let's jump over. Let's talk a little Sportsbox. Sportsbox Co. Head over to sportsboxco.com now. When you do, you can find training aids, gears, and awesome swag for kids of all ages who play baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, football, lacrosse, or volleyball. You can keep them playing and having fun with Sportbox. What is Sportbox, Wes? What is it? You say? What is that? Huh? You say, what is that? Huh? Sportbox is a subscription that is a gift that keeps on giving and keeps the kids smiling month after month. Order now, and your first box will ship out soon. Head over to sportboxco.com/back/back. Listen to me. / 4-Star Sports Media for more. Great boxes there, man. Like I said, a lot of sports there: baseball, softball, basketball. Speaking of softball, John, it's here. For those of you that love sports, those of you that love sports apps, you can re-update the Women's College World Series app on your phone. When you do, you get everything. I believe through this app you can listen to any game, which I thoroughly enjoy. Um, but John, let's take a look, man. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot of brackets. I want to start with the College Station bracket. Obviously, Texas A&M comes out of this one, right?
Yeah, they definitely
I
deserve the
mean, you
number
got
one
St.
overall seed
Francis.
too.
Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%.
Oh, hey, let's talk about this
Do I,
first of all,
do I
real quick.
agree with how the SEC did all that?
Yeah,
No.
let's talk about that
You
first.
have to have a contingency plan in place. I agree. You have to have a contingency plan in place. If not, You're doing yourself, you're doing your conference, you're doing each individual player, you're doing every team, all an injustice, including the fans, by the way, all an injustice by not playing the game. And I understand, oh, well, oh, well, we were worried about seating. Were you really worried about seating? Were you really worried about seating? No matter who won or lost that game, no seating was going to change. It didn't matter. Let them play the game. Arkansas and LSU started baseball at like 10 o'clock Friday night. That game literally finished at 1:35, whatever it was, Baton Rouge time. Which down there, that
They
is
don't
some
care.
drunk people. They don't care. They don't even know what day it is. They don't know what time it is. They've been drinking since 1 o'clock the following morning. Yeah, they're good. But you got to play that game. I understand. Look, I have my own opinion about the Power Two and what's to come, and we've talked about this with Tony and others. It's coming, right? They're already having meetings. They already want to expand and then make it where they have automatic bids for their conferences where they're guaranteed to get 4 teams in, their team to get 4 teams in, and it's all stupid. It's not set up for equality for anyone. And I know that's not a popular word in 2025, but I don't care. If you're going to do it, if you're going to have a playoff and you're going to make it seem like it's available for everyone, make it available for everyone. This was another example of that. Throw their power around. Oh, we're gonna crown co-champions. Like those teams are real excited about that. They've played all year long for a chance to be conference champions, and you take the weasel way out. You weasel your way out of it by putting some statement out there about how it's all about that. No, it's not. Go ahead, John. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I just shake my head because I'm pissed off because I was enjoying it. I was gonna enjoy my Saturday afternoon watching that game because yeah, like you brought up, the seeding really mattered. Both got top two in the overall seeding, so we'll talk about that in a minute. But they really worried about seeding. Let's be real. They're both gonna host a regional. They're both gonna host a super regional. But you brought up the coach.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to wear a co-champions T-shirt for one thing. And what's sad is I hate it for the players. I hate it for the administrators. I hate it for everybody involved. I hate it for the city of Athens, for one thing, because Georgia was hosting this year. And for these teenage girls that go to softball games, they want to see a matchup like this. Top
Yep.
two, top two teams in the country face off for a championship. Heck, I like low scoring softball games. That's just me, but I also do like high scoring. And I really thought this series or championship game could have gone either way. And to see Oklahoma come in the big SEC in year one or two now, it feels like
One.
was yeah in year one, and to be a co-champion with Texas A&M, that's a slap in the face to Texas A&M because of Oklahoma's rich history. I just want to say that. I'm not saying
I mean,
they're
let them
doing
play.
that,
It's
but
really, it's really,
that's
it's really.
how I feel because think about it, they're four-time
Yep.
national champions for a reason in Oklahoma. But come
Oh
on,
yeah.
man, let's play this game at 9 o'clock at night if we got to. I don't care because, well, you want to say, well, it wasn't going to be on a big market on TV. Yeah, it was. It still was. The fans weren't going to travel back home until the day after anyway. The team wasn't going to be
Now
traveling
you care
back.
that it's not on ESPN Plus. They haven't cared about that all year. Why?
Yeah,
Why care now?
but let's be real. The fans weren't going to travel back until Sunday. The team
Yeah.
wasn't probably going to travel back until after the selection show, maybe anyway. So let's put it
Right.
back. Let's put it on at 2 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, or play the game at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday morning if you got to. Well, there's 50% rain chance. I
Agreed.
don't care, man. Take a chance. If Tennessee and Auburn can play in a monsoon in baseball, why not let some of these softball players play in a monsoon? That's my
Agree
rant.
100%. All right, let's jump into it, man. College Station Regional. This won't take long. College Station Regional. Texas A&M is moving on.
Liberty's gonna play them in the championship series. Liberty's a Conference USA
Yeah.
champion for a reason.
All right. What about Norman, Oklahoma? Do you see Cal taking on them, or do you see Omaha coming out of that side?
California is the ACC at large, but yeah, I think it's gonna be Oklahoma and Cal. Let's be real.
Yeah. All right, man. Interesting matchup here, starting on the 16th. As Fayetteville Regional, St. Louis Billikens come to town, as well as Indiana and Oklahoma State. Indiana and Oklahoma State will play game one. That it will be at 3 p.m. on Friday the 16th. Second game will be at 5:30 p.m. when Arkansas takes on St. Louis. I'm expecting, though I think the Oklahoma State Indiana game is going to be fun to watch. I'm expecting Oklahoma State Arkansas for the whole deal.
Yeah, I do too. I think Indiana and Oklahoma State will be a fun game to watch, and I definitely think if Arkansas plays Oklahoma State in that second game where they face off on the 17th, will definitely be fun to watch at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, man, let's go down to Tallahassee, Florida, as we look at the number five ranked Florida State Seminoles, as they have got an interesting foes there. You got Robert Morris taking on Florida State. Then you've got USF out of the American, one of two seeds, two teams out of the American, as John and I predicted earlier this year. And you've got Auburn, three, yeah. But you've got Auburn as well. John, you look at this, I think it's going to be Florida State and South Florida, and I think that is going to be a lot iffier than people think.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't count out Auburn though. I think Auburn does have a decent shot because they're hitting at times. But like you, I think South Florida and Auburn will be that elimination game to play Florida State in that final. But I think South Florida does have the pitching to beat Florida State, although Florida State definitely has the pitching too. But if anybody can beat Florida State to surprise somebody, it could definitely well be the South Florida Bulls.
Yeah, and I mistakenly skipped over the Gainesville Regional. That was not done purposely. Mercer takes on Florida, number three seed Florida, and then you got Georgia Tech and Florida Atlantic. John, I'm going to pull a shocker here. Give me Florida Atlantic to come out of this.
Florida Atlantic's 40 plus wins on the year. They dominated the American, uh, except for in the tournament where they didn't win the tournament. But yeah, man, I think Florida Atlantic's got the pitching power to beat Florida, but I definitely think somehow Florida finds a way because they're pitching.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's go down to Austin, Texas. We got Austin Regional as the number six seed Austin, Texas. Or sorry, Texas Rangers, or not Rangers. Texas Longhorns. Eastern Illinois down there, as well as Michigan and Central Florida. Give me Texas to come away, but I think it's going to be Texas and Michigan for it all.
Yeah, I agree with you on that because I think the way that Michigan right now, just their history. I mean, phenomenal story on UCF though. Like for even making it to a regional with a shake with a big Big 12 this year, that the way they did competitive. But yeah, give me Texas and Michigan. Man, that very well could go down to that if necessary game on Game 7 though.
Yep. Yep. I was thinking the same thing looking at this breakdown. All right, man. Let's head over to Knoxville, Tennessee, as the Lady Volunteers, number seven seed, are hosting as the Miami of Ohio Redhawks come to town, as well as the North Carolina Tar Heels and Ohio State Buckeyes. Tennessee will play game one in their regional. Most of the time, you don't see teams play game one, but I like that. Tennessee will play game one, and I think it's going to be Tennessee and North Carolina, with Tennessee moving ahead.
I got Tennessee and Ohio State. Um, I brought up Ohio State a couple weeks ago on the show, 2 weeks ago, I believe it was.
You did?
They got 40 plus wins. Dude, they hit the ball. Ohio State does home runs. Look out for Ohio State to pull the upset in Knoxville. I don't, man, that very well could go to that necessary game two on Game 7. And I think, ugh, Tennessee pitching though is just so nasty. 78 miles an
It's
hour
nasty,
this
man.
year by a pitcher that they have. And you know what? Go ahead and give me Ohio State in the upset. I just
Wow.
see an upset here in the top 7 regional. And I'm just trying to figure out who it could be. And I think Ohio State's got that power to beat Tennessee. Just think about it.
Okay.
You
Could
don't have
very
to
well happen. All right.
you don't have to throw your ace in that first matchup either, so they
Right.
can save their ace for that Tennessee or North Carolina winner. So
Yeah,
give me the
that's true.
Buckeyes.
All right, man. Let's head over to Columbia. To South Carolina's number 8 ranked South Carolina Gamecocks are hosting as they take on Elon. And then there's an interesting game 1 of the day between North Florida and Virginia. Don't sleep on North Florida here, John, but I think the Gamecocks come out of this one.
You got who do you got in the final in that one then?
I got South Carolina and North Florida playing for the championship of this region.
Yeah, I like North Florida a lot to play South Carolina as well. I think North Carolina it's kind of like a dark horse when you see maybe a 12 versus a 5, like college basketball, point of view. But I want to say this also: South Carolina did not deserve that 8 seed.
No.
UCLA deserved that 8 seed over South Carolina.
Yep.
I know UCLA got the 9, we're talking about next.
Yep.
But man, come on, man. Let's be real. RPI does it really matter now in college softball?
I mean, evidently, yeah, evidently it does.
I know.
Um, yeah. Speaking of UCLA, we'll talk about them next. UC Santa Barbara. See, UCLA is playing their game 1 too. I like that. I like the host team playing game 1. I like it. Uh, because I feel like the reason is because I feel like more fans will stick around and watch game 2 to
Right.
figure out who they have to play. You know, UC Santa Barbara taking on number 9 ranked UCLA Bruins. Then they've got San Diego State and Arizona State. Give me UCLA to come out of it, but I think that Arizona State gives them all they want. This could come down to the final 7 game.
I agree 100% on that. I think Arizona State, it's fun to watch. Pitching, hitting, just their history in general. So, yeah, Arizona State, UCLA should go down that game 7.
All right, up next, let's head to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where the number 10 ranked LSU Tigers will be hosting Southeastern Louisiana in game 2. And they also have UConn and Nebraska in game 1. John, I think LSU wins, but I don't think they come out of the winner's bracket to do it.
So, you get them losing the first game?
I've got them losing the first game to Southeast Louisiana by like a run or two, and then them climbing back and winning the whole thing. A little bit of drama for your mama down in Baton Rouge.
If somebody can do it, I think Southeast Louisiana can do it. They hit the ball pretty well, too. But give
They
me
do. They
LSU in the.
score. They score really well.
I like LSU Nebraska here in the final. I'll give me
Okay.
LSU to win the regional though.
Okay. All right. Up next, head over to Clemson as the Clemson Tigers are hosting, as they welcome Northwestern and the Kentucky Wildcats, as well as USC Upstate. Clemson wins their first game. I think Kentucky comes out of game 1 with the win as well. Give me Kentucky to come out of this regional, John.
Wow.
I don't think Clemson comes out of it. I think Kentucky does.
See, I thought, to be honest with you, Clemson winning the ACC tournament for the first time in school history. Congratulations on that by beating Florida
Yeah,
State.
no doubt.
But Kentucky to me does not deserve to be in the tournament at all. 29-26 overall. I guess SEC matters, RPI matters, but
Most definitely.
Kentucky being 29-26 definitely deserve not to be in this tournament, which I'm going to bring up here in a little bit. But yeah, give me Clemson. I hate that Clemson's facing off against South Carolina Upstate the first game because South Carolina
Mm-hmm.
Upstate's always been the sneaky team in general lost in the tournament. But don't be surprised if you see South Carolina Upstate beating Clemson that first game, and then I see Clemson winning it, but I see them coming out of the losers bracket like you have LSU coming out of the losers bracket.
All right. All right. Up next, we've got the head over to the Lubbock Regional as Brown will take on Texas Tech in game one. And then Washington takes on Mississippi State. Didn't these teams just meet in the NCAA tournament last year? I feel like. Um, give me Texas Tech and give me Washington
All
with
right,
Texas Tech coming out ahead.
I feel like you see a lot of rematches in these regionals this year, which we'll talk about here in a little bit too. But yeah, I think Mississippi State, man, just to face Washington in that first game is just Washington's history alone in softball. But yeah, give me Texas Tech to face off against Washington in that final two. But I think Mississippi State is going to surprise some people. Just the way they probably hit the ball as well. But yeah, give me Texas Tech or Texas Tech and Washington. But I won't be surprised if Washington does force a game seven. But I got Texas Tech. Man, their pitching is nasty down in Lubbock. They got that. It's nasty down in Lubbock, Texas, right now for pitching.
Yeah, it is, man. It really is. All right, let's head over to the Tucson Regional as Arizona will be hosting Santa Clara in game one, followed by Grand Canyon taking on Ole Miss. Give me Arizona and give me Grand Canyon with Arizona coming out on top.
I see Ole Miss is another team that has a possible rematch against Arizona because that felt like they faced off
Mm-hmm.
each other in last year's regional. But I will see. I got Grand Canyon losing to Ole Miss the first game, but I also think Grand Canyon will beat Santa Clara. The loser goes home game.
Yep.
But I'm with you. I think Grand Canyon somehow makes a surprise game in the final. Maybe like game six though. But I love Arizona's pitching, man. Like Arizona pitching always dominates in the postseason.
Yeah, it does. It's a consistent, constant thing with that team for sure. Let's head over to Durham, North Carolina, man, as the Duke Blue Devils will host Howard in game one, and then Coastal Carolina and the Georgia Bulldogs will take on each other in game two. First game will begin Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, with game two being at 1:30. I'm sorry, 1:30 Central Time, 11 a.m. Central Time as well. Sorry, on Friday. But interesting stuff there, man. Whew. Coastal's not a bad softball team,
No,
John. Coastal's not a bad softball team at all. Give me Coastal and Duke. Ugh. And that's really a toss up, man. Give me Duke to come out of it. But I think Coastal gives Duke all they want.
I agree with you 100% on that because I think Coastal, man, they're just a fun team to watch the last couple of years in softball. Don't count out Georgia because of their postseason history also, but I think Georgia might be a little bit mad because the way they've been struggling the last couple of weeks as well. So that's why I won't be surprised if Coastal does pull the upset in that first game. But look out for Coastal, like you said. But Duke, I think, wins that regional. Man, it's another team to look out for because of pitching in Durham.
Mhm. No doubt. All right, man, let's head down to Tuscaloosa, Alabama for number 15 seed Tide. Will host Jackson State. Memphis beat Jackson State this year. Also, Belmont and Virginia Tech are down there. Give me Alabama to come out of it, John, and give me Belmont to pull the win in game one over Virginia Tech.
I very well could see that. Um, yeah, Bama hosting for the 50 plus year in a row. They got another regional host. So congrats to Coach Murphy and the gang for another regional host. But yeah, I got Belmont beating Virginia Tech in that first game too. But I think Virginia Tech beats Alabama in Tuscaloosa for that regional final.
Interesting. Interesting. All right, let's head over to Eugene, Oregon, as the number 16 ranked Oregon Ducks will host Weber State for game two, as game one will take on between Binghamton and Stanford. John, I think two foes meet again, except these two foes are not in the same conference they were in when they met last time. Give
No.
me Oregon and give me Stanford, and give me Stanford to come out of the Eugene region with a win.
Wow. Wow. Okay, 1 hour or 1 hour and 6 minute mark. Okay. Okay. Wow. I think
Yep,
Oregon.
1 hour and 7 minutes. Yes.
Yeah. I think Oregon dominates this region. I think they want to make a statement in this region too. The reason I say that is to give them the 16th seed is a slap in the face. Um, that's part of my rant because Oregon to be a 16th seed is ridiculous. Going to the Big Ten this year, where anybody could have been anybody in the Big Ten this year, like we talked about
Yep.
last week with UCLA, Michigan, Oregon, Nebraska. The list goes on and on. But Oregon definitely did not deserve that 16 seed. They deserved the 10 through 13 overall seed, in my opinion. So to give them that last 16 seed, I think the committee lost. I'm like, because think about it. You're gonna face like if the 16 seed and the 1 seed A&M win their first series,
Mhm.
they face off against each other again. It's pretty much a rematch of last year's regional, super regional. I mean, I believe it was, or the year
Yep.
before. But to give Oregon a 16 seed is absolutely ridiculous, in my opinion.
Speaking of seeds, John, the National College Baseball Writers Association, which I'm a part of here at Four Star Sports Media, just put out their top 25 just a little while ago. LSU number one, Texas number two, Florida State number three, North Carolina number four. Arkansas fell from one down to five. Georgia is at six. Oregon is at seven. Auburn is at eight. Clemson nine, and Oregon State rounds out the top 10. Interesting stuff there. John, as we close here, I want to talk about
Well, who
an
deserved
event
not
that
to be in
you.
the tournament, in your opinion, though, in college softball?
I mean, you have a very good point about Kentucky. Like a very good point. I understand your point when you say that. I don't know, man. Jackson State. I
Well,
mean,
they
they're
won the conference, so
I know.
how about Georgia Tech at 27 or 20? Yeah, Georgia Tech at 27 and 22, or Northwestern at 29 and 18.
Yeah, I'd say Georgia Tech probably over Northwestern. I mean, almost 30 wins. That's a lot in
Right.
in a softball season. Um, yeah, Georgia Tech's probably there too.
First four out were BYU, Nevada, North Texas, and Purdue. North
I'm,
Texas,
I, I thought North Texas got shafted. I
that's what
really
it is.
thought they
Yeah.
would be in.
I mean, think about it, man. Like, North Texas played in that championship game against South
Hell of a
Florida.
game.
They were up by 4 runs at one time, and South Florida just rallied and beat them in the sixth inning, I think it was. But yeah, North
Yep.
Texas definitely deserved to be in my opinion, over a Kentucky or over a Georgia Tech. People still want to diss the American Conference in softball all they want, but let's be real, the American Conference softball this year was fun to watch.
There's some conferences that are power two, power four that may want to pay very close attention to some teams that coming into their regionals that are from the American. John, I want to talk about an event that you watched over the weekend, and I want to start. I just want to talk about one match from Backlash, and that is the Pat McAfee Gunther, whatever you want to call the guy Walter is what I know him as. Um, John, first, real just briefly, I want to get your thoughts on McAfee, how you think he did. And then, do you like the fact that we're seeing McAfee and Michael Cole, for that matter, because this is really what it all started was with Cole. Do you like to see them becoming more involved in type of storylines?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you do because Pat McAfee's been around for 20 plus years in sports entertainment. He knows on a yearly basis on what goes in for regarding NFL to his own show to storylines in WWE in general because he's been part of EC. He was a part of NXT 20 plus years ago too. It feels like, but yeah, I definitely like how Michael Cole is being involved in this because Michael Cole, I think the way that he's been around for like 30 plus years also is one reason I think Triple H is kind of bringing him in this because he travels week in week out. He really don't have to, but he does it. He could take so much time off if he wanted to, also, but Michael Cole doesn't. But overall, for that match, I think Pat McAfee, man, he battled. He never gave up until the toward the end. Like compared to Gunther, yeah, that's all you can really do. But just the way that
Yeah,
he did pretty well. I think the storyline in general is going to be very interesting down the road too. I think we might see a tag team out of this going forward too. I think Gunther might find a tag team partner to face a Michael Cole and Pat McAfee maybe at SummerSlam too. You never know about that.
that's true. That's a very good point. All right, man. As we close, we appreciate everyone watching and listening as always, and we appreciate Athletic Brewing Company, SeatGeek, and Sportsbox Co. as they continue to help us give back to our fans. And but once again, we appreciate John for coming on. It's always a lot of fun sitting down, having a plateful of sports discussion with him. And as always, folks, as we always close, get up, be kind, and stay classy.